Good evening, ladies. Thank you for joining us for Defining Black Womanhood, a conversation with us, for us, and by us. This particular conversation is focused on single Black mother and motherhood. And so I have four ladies joining us today who are mothers, and they are dynamic women, and that I am glad for them to be a part of this conversation. And we are going to go ahead and get started with introductions, and then we'll just kind of flow, our conversation will flow, and hopefully inspire, encourage, uplift, and motivate. The idea of this conversation is to keep the conversation going of defining Black womanhood, and to simply control the narratives, our own narratives about what Black womanhood is and how we define ourselves. So thank you for joining us. And if you ladies would like to start introducing yourselves, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Somone. I'm from Chicago. I am a mom, an entrepreneur, an educator, and a Black woman navigating womanhood.
Hi, everybody. My name is Tosha Childs. I'm from Normal, Illinois. I currently work in the St. Louis area. I'm happy to be here. I'm so excited to participate and to contribute and just to be a part of this movement. My pride and joy and motivation, besides my Lord and Savior, is my 11-year-old daughter.
Yes.
Hi, my name is Shanika. I am originally from Chicago, Illinois, and I currently reside in Normal, Illinois. I work for an insurance company. I am also a blogger and entrepreneur and author as well. And I have a 12-year-old child who is also my motivation. So, yeah.
Hi, my name's Whitney. I am from Kankakee, Illinois. I live there. I work in the higher ed field, diversity inclusion specifically. I have a toddler, my first and only child. I have an 18-month-old, and I'm also excited to be talking with you ladies. A lot of you are in the spaces I want to be. I'm an aspiring blogger, mompreneur, so those are spaces I want to get into. So I'm just so happy to be able to grab some of you all's energy.
Yes. Thank y'all again so much for joining. And I just want to say, start off by saying that, I truly honor each one of you all as mothers. You all are, dynamic mothers. Y'all are doing a thing. And I know, you all have provided a sense of inspiration for me when my time comes. So thank you again for joining the conversation. So the first question that I have for you ladies is describe or tell me in your own words what's your definition of Black motherhood, womanhood is to you.
I think for me, one word sticks up automatically, and that would be being resilient. There's so many obstacles that come up, and not only for yourself, you have to keep thriving and keep going to get to what's next. You have someone watching you now as a mom. It's not only about you, it's about your child. So no matter what's going on, you always find yourself being resilient, trying to keep going and thriving. So definitely resilience.
Yes, I love that. You gotta be able to bounce back and keep it moving.
And balance that thing out, okay?
Yes. Now, let me tell y'all, Somone, she is a strong component of balance. Listen, she know how to enjoy herself and do the thing and take care of her child. Listen, she is my inspiration, and get it out and enjoy yourself. Somone be doing the things, y'all.
Thank you. I'll be trying to live my best life and get things done too, okay?
I would describe a black womanhood as a woman of confidence and self-identity who knows her self-worth, values herself. She doesn't wait for others to move and progress in life. Very independent, very self-motivated. Just a woman that I like the word that Somone uses, just trying to thrive in every area. of your life. And for Black motherhood, I would say, for me, I always want to be an example of the woman I want my daughter to be. So if there's a situation I'm in or a person I'm dealing with, I always strive to ask myself, how would I want my daughter to react or behave in this situation? And I try to conduct myself that way so that I'm showing her how to be a woman.
I love that.
Yes.
If I were to describe it, I would say it is challenging and multidimensional. Those are the two things I think about. I think especially when you are doing it on your own, you have to wear so many different hats. So you are a doctor, you are the cab driver, you are an educator, and then you still have to try to keep your sanity and deal with, I think, your own traumas that you have endured over the years, and then try to help them navigate or even try to protect or curtail them from any additional traumas. And I think while doing that, I say for me, working in a corporate environment, that could be very challenging because sometimes I feel like can struggle to be too much or enough, or do you speak up or do you not? So I think that could be challenging in the sense of trying to find, like Simone would say, a balance, but then also trying to be an example of standing up for yourself, but just choosing battles. So I think that's what I would describe that as. It's a Jenga game for life.
That's good, Shanika.
When I think about Black womanhood or Black motherhood, I can't do too much to define it or describe it. It's a journey. It's a journey. Shanika used the perfect word. It's very multidimensional. It's very multifaceted. You see so many things, and we come as Black women from a very rich and a very rich is the word I want to use, a really, really rich lineage. It's just the things that we've seen. And you look around and you got your mama and you got your grandma and you got your auntie and the ladies at church, and you see so many stories and versions of what Black womanhood can be.
Mm-hmm.
And you see so many versions of what motherhood can be. And you think your mom is the best person in the world. And then you're like, but I don't want to pass these things on, but these things are great. It's really this mixed bag of so many different experiences, of so many different ways of being. And it's very complex. But what I will say is a lot of it is not the stereotypes we see. People, they love to talk about strong Black women, and we got so many vulnerabilities, and there's such a softness that some of us never get to show because we don't get the chance, but it's there. But don't think we ain't resilient, and don't think we ain't strong, because baby, you know what I'm saying, you're not going to find nobody stronger, but we also have the other side. We have that balance. We have the other side of that coin. So I think when I think of Black womanhood and Black resilience, Black motherhood, I do think it's a journey of figuring out at every stage of your life how I want to show up and how I want to be this and how I want to do this based on what I've learned that has worked, what I've seen not work. And it's just very multidimensional, multifaceted, but it's one of the most beautiful experiences I've ever witnessed or, had the opportunity to be a part of.
Yes, y'all. Thank y'all for answering. I feel like you all's answers just provided a collective of what it is. And ultimately, it's not one dimensional, it's not monolithic. We are multifaceted, and it looks different. It sounds different. It is different. So I think that's important. That's one of the messages that I hope this conveys, is that it looks different for everyone. And it's not one right way to motherhood, one prescribed way to motherhood. And then you don't just arrive at one way of motherhood. You're constantly growing, constantly learning and evolving. So yeah, that's good. Y'all making it hard for me with these questions, because now I got more questions. Like, not the ones that I sent y'all. But So if y'all don't mind, I want to derail a little bit from one of the from the next question, but to something that I thought of when you all were giving your answers is, how do you deal with the challenges and when you get it quote unquote wrong, or you feel like you've failed? Or do you even define mistakes or challenges as failures?
No, I think for me, definitely it's evolving in motherhood. Because at this stage, your child is here and you got to figure it out. But then how I disciplined at 5, I can't be babyifying you at 9 and 10. So it's constantly evolving. I think one of the biggest challenges I'll share that I recently came to grips with in motherhood, it was, how linear do you be with your child in a sense of discipline? So like for me, like I don't believe in like, oh, I'm not going to hit you, I'm not going to scream, I don't want to yell. But also how do I balance putting my foot down but still trying to keep my voice down? So for me, I randomly was driving one day and I heard on a radio, it was someone speaking, and they were pretty much like the mother, it said something about like the mother who doesn't provide discipline is as bad as the mom who someone thinks is too aggressive in discipline. So it was like I had this whole meltdown in motherhood. Like I'm the best mom. I take my kid on all the trips, all the adventures, and like, I'm feeding him healthy meals and this, that, and the third, but also I'm doing him an injustice if I just let everything slide, and pretty much trying to figure out, how do I meet that in the middle? Like, how do I let him know that there's a boundary that you don't cross, but also doing it in a way where I'm still, not being overbearing and aggressive as a mom. So I think just growth, and now I need to find a new discipline method. And what I used before, come back big guy, and don't do that, is not going to work at 9. So like you guys said, I think motherhood is constantly changing and evolving. And for me, just having people to talk to about that, being able to be vulnerable to my sisters, my friends, that I'm calling my sisters as my friends, and letting them know that, man, I'm at that point where I'm like, what do I do? So just being open, and so that's for me. It's no failure. It's just constantly growing and learning, because every stage of your child's growth, you're also going to be growing in motherhood and having to adjust and change.
So a lot of what I heard you say is it's levels to parenting.
It's levels to this thing. Okay?
Yes. And then just like you parent differently at different stages.
Yes.
So even like I think I'm aware of the notion of like how parents, you parent children differently as it relates to their personalities, their needs and their challenges. But at the same time, you parent that same child differently as it relates to their age and their journey and their learning, their level of understanding and knowledge. And so I feel like that's two levels.
2 levels.
Basically understanding like you said, your parenting that works at 5 is probably not the same parenting that you're gonna do at 10.
No.
With this same child, and you have to kind of like relearn them all over.
Yep, because they're experiencing more, they're taking in more, understanding the maturity is different on their end too. So yeah, it's a challenge,
Yes, but you got this.
I got it.
Definitely with help, of course, too. And I love that you mentioned that about your village, about the community. It takes a village for sure.
It definitely does. And I think that's something else you learn as your child is growing, how important the village is. Like, it's in motherhood, gosh, it just can't, like, it can be done, like we thrive, we do it, single moms and all that, but it's very important to have people around you that you can trust in a village to be there. That's so important. Shout out to the village.
Yes. Okay, so I don't want y'all to forget my question, but I also want to couple that question with, like, how do you deal with the balancing of the village's input and where you want to go in your direction of I got you where you want to go with your parenting. So that coupled with the other question as well. You, Whitney, would you like to?
I don't. Do we have a rotation? Can I go out of turn?
This is a conversation. Remember, the kitchen
Okay.
Conversation.
So now I will say, it's from what it sounds like, I'm probably the newest mom here, and I'll just go ahead and say this to be transparent. Being a single mother, no, I don't think very few people plan on it. Some people do. It is their intention, but it was not mine. And so I'm currently still dealing with the fact that I feel like I failed. And what is helping me with that challenge of having so many people around me and the village and my own friends and my own people that are encouraging me and saying, no, this is not a failure. I'm in therapy, working my way through that. I'm in prayer. I'm journaling to work my way through feeling like this is my own personal failure. You know what I mean? And that comes along with Black womanhood. I'll just say it because it's my truth. People are very hard on single Black mothers. They make it feel like it is your fault that this has happened to you. You should have chose better. You should have this better. You should have that better. And people are mean about it.
That's very
People
true.
are mean about it. The talk around it, the rhetoric around it, the socio-political context, people are mean. And we out here trying to do our best. It happens to women of all races, ethnicities, and whatever, but people are especially mean to us about it. And I'm having to push beyond that for myself. And so, so sometimes I am still in a place where I look at things and I categorize them as failures. And I have to combat the voice in my head that is not embracing this as a journey, or is not embracing it as a learning experience, and that's not reframing it in the way that I know I need to. You know what I mean? So I have to still have that push with myself. And the thing is, the village. Being a Black woman in these times is hard. We are embracing things like mental health. We are embracing things like not yelling at the kids and hitting the kids that we grew up with. And we're trying to parent with tools we don't have. I tried so hard, and I have a toddler, y'all, to be like, I'm not going to spank her parent. But I don't know what else to do. I literally have no other experiences. I have nobody else who lived in front of me that didn't, I'm saying, you tap their legs, get you a little switch. So I'm like, I don't really want to do that. I don't want to be yelling my whole life. I don't have no other outlet for when I'm frustrated with a 1-year-old. So I've been having to go look at some articles here. I've been having to give myself some grace and say, if you holler, every now and again, you all right, sis? Because she was big tripping. It is what it is. Like, if you got to pop somebody, they got to get popped. It's not like you around here, knocking nobody's head off. But there are other ways. And what it has taught me to do is reparent myself. It's taught me to look how you act when you're frustrated. And it's not appropriate to do that at work. You find another way. You don't walk around your job hollering at nobody. So how can I bring that home and figure out how to do that with this child? And I have to relearn things and reparent myself. And I have, my mom had 4 girls, 5 children. I have an older brother, and she was a single mom for a good part of my life. She's also an educator. She is like the kid whisperer. And so having that example, but still knowing there are ways that she has parented that I don't necessarily want to parent. It's one thing about the village is, yes, it takes a village, but what do you do when the village isn't on the same page? You know what I mean? What is it when you say, I want to raise my child to not be eating fruit snacks and Happy Meals, but when you drop them off with their auntie or their grandma, that's what all the other kids having fruit snacks. You know what I'm saying? So for me, what it has been is learning when to let go and when to put my foot down. It's been learning those boundaries. It's been not feeling bad about saying, okay, well, I don't want her to eat fruit snacks. Well, all the kids over here eating fruit snacks. And me saying, okay, well, she won't come over then. Well, no, she can come over. Okay, well, then she can't eat fruit snacks. It's me learning to put my foot down and not be upset about it and understand that if that's what y'all doing over there, that's fine. I'm gonna send her with some apples. Can you give her that? If not, it's okay. I'll keep her. And I'm not mad at you. You know, I'm not mad. You ain't got to be mad at me, but this is my boundary. So it's knowing, you know, when to take that advice and when to call out and reach out when you need it, and when to say, I trust myself and I trust my intuition. And that has been hard for me too. I was calling everybody about everything at first until I realized I didn't always agree. It didn't line up. It didn't feel good, you know, to me. And so I had to say, you weren't necessarily prepared. You weren't necessarily planned, but you can do this. God has given you everything you need to do this. God trusted you with this child. She's supposed to be here. I believe that with all my heart. And she's supposed to be yours. So God gave you everything you needed to be her parent. So a lot of it I've learned is making sure that I don't lose myself and making it all about my child. Because I can't be the best parent to you when I'm not doing a good job of taking care of me. And it took me a long time. Well, not a long time. She's not that old. But the whole first year I did a bad job at taking care of me. And I realized when I'm doing a little more for me, I'm able to be a better parent for her.
Child,
Listen.
they gave a whole sermon. Now,
That's the
listen,
collection
all
plate.
these gems that you just dropped, we probably could go home.
Look,
So
it's
we at
so
home.
much.
We probably no,
Yeah.
but
Don't go home. I want to hear what everybody else got to say. They're right here.
yes. So I just want to kind of highlight some things that you said. So what I heard you saying is, for one, it's a grace walk. You gotta learn how to give yourself some grace. Listen, and what did you say? Reparenting self, relearning how to parent your own self. Like, yes, yes.
Some days I'm like, there's not another adult here because we need another grown up.
Look, Whitney,
It's
it's
just
so
me.
many things you said that I'm over here snapping to, like, oh my gosh, woo, woo.
Yes.
So interesting enough how you said, like, you were calling out so much at first. And my issue was like, ain't nobody gonna tell me how to mom, I got this. But then as he's older now, I'm like, hey, you know,
Picking up
Dad
that
got
phone,
mine,
ain't you?
everybody, you coming when? What time you be here to get him? Okay, because I understand I need that break too, okay? Like, and then too, when you said about you having to be your best self to be the best mom you can be. When Posh sent me living my best life, and she sent me, girl, look, because I got to that point too, like, you know, I'm going to keep my load light. I'm a mom, and I'm going to let his dad do what he needs to do on his end. I'm going to keep my nose out of that thing, trust that he's safe and he got this, and I'm going to live while he's gone, okay? So that's where I am. So you got this, girl. You got it.
Yes. Come on. Shared responsibility here. We both did this.
Let me let you do your thing. I ain't gonna be now he's like, you didn't call? Oh, I know he's good. I ain't calling, I ain't bugging. I'll see him. I know when he coming back, he's safe.
Yes. And then one last thing I wanted to highlight was that God trusts you. Like Whitney said, God trusts each of you with that child. And so definitely trusting yourself. It's like sometimes you may have a hard time with trusting yourself, but trust the God in you. Trust, well, God thought enough about you to give you this child, so he gonna make it work out. And
listen,
you might have a few hiccups, or you might second guess a few things, but listen, he gonna work it out for you, sis.
Look, take your hands off that thing.
Yes. I think one of the greatest things so I have a mentor who has a child, and she always says that, God lent me this child. This child don't belong to me. This child belong to God. And so, I just gotta be a good steward. So I gotta check with the Lord. But I gotta also trust that he lent her to me for a reason. To me specifically, there are some things innately that he put inside of me to parent this child. So going with the trusting yourself definitely, and the guiding you to parent that child. That's good. So does anybody else want to share?
I would. I think one thing that has helped me, and I really had to think about it. And Whitney, I'm with you. I'm in therapy too, because I was like, this, some ain't right, and we gotta make this right, because it just wasn't a connection. But I always just I try not to say that I failed. I would use a term. I'm like, this is just, it's a learning opportunity for the both of us. So one thing I try to do with him is, if I know that I've kind of done something a disservice or hurt his feelings, I think it's really important for me to go apologize and correct that. So I know growing up, I didn't receive that as much. An apology, it would be an apology, but it may not have been an explanation behind where the discord happened. And if you know Elijah, he is very inquisitive. He wants to know. He definitely wants the apology if he feels that he is right. But I also try to hear him without correction, or try to remove offense. If he's saying something that I don't necessarily want to hear, um, I'm like, okay, like, you cannot react. You can't be reactionary. This is the time you have to listen to understand, and not to respond to him right now. So I try to practice that a lot, and I try to extend the same grace to myself that I will give to other people, and encouragement. I thought about that one day in prayer, when I was just like, I just felt like I was waking up every day to fail. And I was like, this is whack. And then I was like, okay, well, if someone else told you this, you would have all this encouragement for them. You would have scriptures, you would have a prayer, like, you would be quick to defend them. So why is it so easy for you to do the opposite for yourself? So I think it's important to try to just take that time, and input in yourself what you would input into other people, and just take your time, because like Whitney said, like Simone, all of us, it's a journey. You're not perfect. Um, I've never been a mom to anybody else before. So unfortunately, there are going to be mistakes made, and I have to just accept that that's a part of the process. And as much as I am inputting into him, I have to be able to receive what he's here to input into me, and growth. So this has been the most consistent growth I've had, I think, especially in this the preteen season. My God, today, and there's been there's growth in conversations. So trying to have those healthy conversations. And as far as the village, I would say that I am the CEO of setting boundaries. If I did not ask you for your opinion, I'll let people know. If I did not ask you, don't give it. Don't give it, sis. I didn't ask. Now, if I ask, that's something that's different, because I don't parent like everybody else. I may be too strict for some people. I may be too lenient for other people. You may want to beat your child till they blue in the face. I don't necessarily believe in that. So I think that you have to also get advice from people who are like-minded as well, and be careful. I'm careful of that, as well as, not only, I used to say that people who were not parents could not give me advice about kids, and I was like very strong in that, and I stick to that to a certain extent. But I think that you also have to listen to people who are in education, who deal with children, therapists. So I think there's room. So try not to be so black and white about it, because they may have something to share with you. So to not be so closed off. So I'm learning that with the village and the break. Simone, I'm there with you. I was like, no, I'm gonna do this. And now I'm like, somebody take him, please.
Somebody else take the wheel.
Somebody else. Tag me out so I can tag somebody else in. I need a break. So that's where I'm at.
I love it, Shanique. Come on, tag. You're in now. Yes. So it's trial and error, is what I hear too. Like, it is definitely trial and error. And that CEO of boundary setting, that thing blessed me. Yes, we have to get a little more familiar with setting boundaries and holding people to them. Like, listen, these are the boundaries that I set for me in my house. For me in my house, we gonna serve the Lord. We eating pancakes for breakfast, or we eating fruit for breakfast. You know, we don't want that. No. So I love that. And then that self-awareness piece, going back to kind of what Whitney said too, but you touched on it, just like being self-aware of yourself and like your own things that you need to deal with, your own things that you may have to work through and work out. So that's good. Tosh, did you have anything to add?
Yeah, everyone has just said so much. Like, you, for real, really dropping gems. So all I can really do is echo what everybody's saying. The only thing I probably would add is not worrying, too much. As moms, we are gonna worry, but I almost put myself in the position of being God to her sometimes, and feeling like I have to control everything about her and who interacts with her and what happens to her. And so that's really hard to let that go and just let God do what I cannot do. I've been, like, over the past year, telling myself, I'm going to do everything that I can, and he's going to do the rest, So really that's a win-win situation, because where I fall or where I fail, where I'm imperfect, he's her comfort, he's her guide, he's her father. So he's going to take care of what I couldn't take care of. And as far as the purpose thing is like the failure part, I feel like it's not a failure, it's a part of my purpose. Bringing this child into the world has taught me a lot about myself, taught me a lot about God, about life. And I use that to help any other woman. When I see them coming up and, sis, let me help you out, because I've been there and I've done that. And let me tell you, this is not the end of your story. This can turn right on around for your good. This is a part of your purpose and your testimony. So no, this is not a failure. This is a part of me. And with the village, God gave her to me to parent, and there is no book, so I'm going to do the best that I can. But if you're not on board, then you're not on board. You're not on board. Like, you're with me or you're against me. And if you're against me, then that's kind of like a threat to my child. Like, I feel like I'm doing the best to raise my kid in the best way I can, is give her the love and to show her how to be a strong woman and how to love God and live for God. And if you're against me, you're against her purpose, against her destiny. You know what I'm saying? No, you got to be with me. And if I see anything other, then it's not going to go very far. So yeah, you guys gotta, we strong, we powerful, we're doing the best that we can. And that's all that we can do. I will say I need to work on the pride thing, because when I am wrong, I do need to work on that. Apologizing to her, because I need to fix that. And just letting her know, yeah, mommy didn't handle that the right way. I could have done this better, because that's just gonna teach her to be a better person too, if I can, stand up to that and acknowledge that. But yeah, we're not perfect, doing the best we can, and God is gonna do the rest of what we can't do.
Kudos to that.
Yes, that's good, Tosh. You preaching the sermon too, honey.
I like that. You take that personally. If you're not on board, you threatening my child's purpose. I need to. No, you ain't gonna be able to do that.
No.
You are a danger.
Yes, let's coin that as a destiny protector. As a mother, you are a destiny protector. You're a destiny protector. So I love that. Oh yeah, that's real good right there. A purpose protector. This is precious cargo on board. Yes.
Let's pin that thing.
Right? Pin it. Write it down. We gotta post that again. So the next question is, how did you learn, or when did you learn, who did you learn what it meant to be a Black mother, or learn Black motherhood from?
Actually, it's really interesting, Whitney, and what she was saying earlier. Like, it's it looks so many different ways, right? And you see all these women as you're growing up, and auntie so-and-so or this friend mom, you know, and it's like, my mom's not like that, or this person is not like that. I think for me, even in just womanhood, I always just took, so there's the quote now that's, imagine a woman you want to be and show up as her. So for me, it's like, there were different women doing different things, but there was something to take from every woman. Like, oh, okay, I would want to handle a situation like that, you know, when I grow up, or I want to be like that, or I want to be like this. But I think quickly you learn that people's experiences pretty much guide how they turn out, or how they're navigating things, or what they learned. So just having different people in different settings, like in school, there probably was a basketball coach. My high school coach, actually, she was from the same community I was from, but she went on to do great things, WNBA. She was an educator at the school I was at. So also seeing like those, nothing stopped her. You know, she's from the same neighborhood. So it gave me hope and sense that I too can be, you know. So I think just taking different things from different women that I admired growing up, and then through my own experiences, just navigating who I would ultimately become today.
So we like to say their names, not just the names of our sisters who have gone on, but the ones that are living and well too. So
oh no, so actually, her name was Desire Wheeler. So pretty much like a big inspiration, and literally because she was right from where I'm from, and then coming back to be able to, someone else, I think it was probably Whitney, mentioned pretty much giving, like telling someone else, or Tosha maybe just said that, you know, giving back to someone else that's coming up, or giving them something that they needed. Like if I don't have the resource and you already been there, done that. So I'm learning another thing, it's sisterhood, different age brackets, but still giving back to where you're from and the people who look like you and are from you, you know?
That's good. So reaching back, each one teach one.
Each one teach one,
Lifting
sisterhood.
time. Yes, that's good.
No, you go ahead.
Just wanted to shout out, did you say Desire Williams?
Desire Wheeler.
Desire Wheeler. Shout out to her.
Yeah.
I would agree. Just learn from everyone that you come in contact, really. Of course, it starts in the home for most of us. My grandmother, Truly, my mom, Anita, my aunt, Charlotta. You learn from all those women. You know, I think I get the prayer from Grandma Truly. I get a little bit of sweetness from my auntie. You know, my mom, she is like, I'm not taking nothing. You know, you get a little bit from each person. But I think I also learned from watching like broken women too. And just women that were in cycles, or women who, you know, if they would babysit me and I would see how they would run their home, or little like where my mom is, time to go. You know, you just learn from different people growing up. But I think I also learned a lot from men about how to be a Black woman. And just from my own experiences and watching other relationships, you know, Black men, they're only going to do what you allow them to do to you, or what you permit. And so I learned that by watching how different women respond in different relationships. Because really we set the tone of, so they're only going to treat you how you're going to allow them to treat you. They're only going to disrespect you if you allow them to disrespect you. They're only going to treat you less than what you're worth if you allow them to treat you that way. So I learned from how men interact with the women about what it means to be a Black woman, what kind of Black woman that I want to be.
So would you say it's safe to say that essentially if you see, and as you've grown up, you've seen if it's disrespect, you know that the Black woman who have been disrespected, but then either accepted it or canceled them out of their lives. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, yes. I learned a lot. And I mean, I'm not trying to be judgmental, but for me, it was teaching me about what I wanted. Like, if I noticed that she's accepting this, but then she's also disappointed a lot, or she's giving so much and never getting it back, like that's showing me that's a type of Black woman that you could be. But it's about knowing what do you want in life and manifesting that by not accepting certain things, rejecting certain things. You know, a lot of it is determining what you want. And me watching those relationships show me different versions of Black women, and helped me so that the woman I am today is because of watching those interactions. And for me, it's just so true. They're only going to do what you allow them to do to you. So you have to choose which Black woman do you want to be.
Thank you for sharing that, Tasha. So what I feel like I heard you say is definitely having the power to reject things and knowing what you will accept as well. So learning over the years from the women who have rejected or accepted certain things, and having that power to do that, but understanding that men do it, but it's like whatever they're going to do it to you, and you have the power to reject or accept it.
Exactly.
Okay, I think that I definitely think that some women will try to offer like a counter perspective to that, just because it involves another party and it involves men. And so I think that it's important to acknowledge, like, there are, like, as you did, there are women who may not or may be able to accept or reject things. And so, like, I think someone mentioned this, you do what your experiences are. Like, you a lot of times we are a culmination of what we experience. So if you don't have the tools to reject or the tools to accept, then sometimes you are accepting something or rejecting something that has nothing to do with that man. Like, I mean, so to clarify, like, it's everything to do with the person, because they are the one acting out or demonstrating their behaviors. But a lot of times it's how you are impacted by it and how you experience it is based upon what your experiences were and what you have the tools to handle the situation. That's a lot. I feel like I just said a mouthful, but just wanting to be able to give room to all experiences, right? So does anyone else have anything to share?
I would say, I mean, like Tasha touched on this, learning would be from, of course, they start to soft when I start talking. But my mom, I think she was and still is the biggest contributor to me learning, and just being an example, definitely about being a strong Black woman. When I was born, she was a single mom to 4 kids before she was married. I don't like saying my stepfather because he's been in my life since I was 3 years old, so he's my dad. But then working full time, and then she was still going to school. So I remember sitting in classes with her at Chicago State University as she was trying to attain, and being very active in her church and still being active in our lives and molding. And I know I was definitely spoiled. We didn't really have cereal, so it was a fully made breakfast like every single morning for every meal. And so I looking back, I don't know how she had the time or the balance or whatever she did to get that done. And of course, you know, my dad was there, but if we're honest, even with the dad there, it just seems like the load is mostly on the mom. And so she really taught me what it was like to have a hard, well, not a hard, a work ethic and to grind. But I also think that it was a disservice at the same time because it was maybe a year ago when I realized like it was okay to need a break and to not always have to keep going. And to take a break doesn't necessarily mean that you are lazy. So I had a very skewed view of my work ethic. If I didn't feel sick, like I'm almost running into the ground before it was a break. So I also had to learn balance. So I think you learn what you want to emulate and what you don't want to emulate at the same time by watching people. And I still think she's phenomenal, but I was like, yeah, this is not, I need a break. Like, this is not going to be healthy in every sense of the word, especially like mentally. And I think sometimes just being hard on yourself, it's hard enough navigating this world, like as a Black woman. So why am I adding on additional stuff? So I think that was what my example, like that was my biggest example. And of course, you see like other people, other single moms or other moms where I pick and choose what I would like to emulate. But Manuela Lawson is hands down. That's who my example is.
Yes.
If I would add anything, my mom, Verna, she is a huge example, but my godmother who has passed, her name was Janet, loved her to death. And I still just think about the way she was different from my mom. And there were things that I didn't get from my mom that I got from her. Like my mom will always be the first person to tell you like, you know, I'm not into clothes, I'm not into makeup, I don't do all that. But my godmother, that was her. She was the lipstick and the makeup, and she sewed, and like she made me, you know, dress. So a lot of the ways that I want to be creative and things that I do with my daughter, I kind of channel this person. And you know, my mother worked, and like to go right along with Shanika, that's something I've had to unlearn and relearn. I mean, we probably can all say we grew up like, if you're not falling over dead, you need to go to work. Like we got to get these coins, you know, you got to go to work. And it's just even recently, like up to this year, I had to be like, I am sick. I have sick days. I could be sick for 2 days or I could be sick for 2 weeks because I'm pushing myself. But that strong Black woman syndrome puts a whole lot on you that don't need to be there. And you got white counterparts that they was taking mental health days before anybody had a name for them. I didn't know what anxiety was. I said, this is a thing. Y'all done had anxieties in high school. And I'm just now realizing like, oh, this is, and you know, and sometimes I wonder, I look around at Black women and I think about, you know, people saying they have attitudes and they always got something to say. And I'm like, how many of our mothers had untreated, undiagnosed anxiety? They worked up over that spoon in the sink, but it's for a reason. There's more to that. They got 8 billion things going on. They're trying to protect us, take care of us. All these thoughts are coming their way. They don't know how, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot there. So I definitely learned by watching my mother and seeing that her, you know, doing the very best that she could and her pushing herself far beyond her limits and saying, I admire the work ethic. I admire the dedication and the commitment, but I also can see how that wore you down over the years. And I also can see how that kept you on edge. And I see that you did your very best and you gave me that. And what that allows me to do is give me the contrast to say, you know what, I might do something different that might be a little better. And you know what I'm saying, you pushing yourself that hard gave me the opportunity to see the contrast. The other thing I'll add is I love the term other mothering. I have learned a lot from my childless friends. I have learned a lot from supervisors, coworkers, in the way that they care for me. When I walk into work, and I will say her name, Dr. Krista Platt. When I walk into work and it might be something going on with me and this person will sit me down in the office and this person will pour into me and this person will speak life to me, that is a way, you know, that is some mothering. And that tells me how to deal with my child. When you come in and she seems a little off, sit you down and have that conversation and give you a moment, you know, and give you the space. When I call Posh, Nicholson, and I need some prayer. You know what I mean? Learning to be that parent who will listen and let my child get out everything they need to get out and say, okay, now we're going to take this, to the throne. I think other mothering is huge. I think our friends parent us in ways that we don't know. That person we pick up the phone and call for everything that's our same age, that may or may not have kids, they still mother us. That person that you have a good enough relationship where they can be intrusive, they can be like, sis, open the door, I'm outside because it's something going on. You need a moment. And they're not asking permission, and you might be pissed off, but they're still here. We gonna have to do that for our kids someday. Even the toddler, you're sleepy, sis. You're sleepy. You doing all this because you sleepy. I'm about to pick you up against your will. I'm gonna pass you. You gonna relax because you need a nap. You don't know you need it, but sometimes our friends come in for ways that we don't know what we need right then. They might annoy us. They might get on our nerves, but after they get done intruding and we get what we need, we can sit back and be like, thank you, friend. I appreciate that, friend. Or I didn't want to hear that right now, but you told me and I needed to hear it. Thank you, friend. Like, I think other mothering is huge, and we get it from all over our community. You get it from that older woman at church. You get it from, like I said, a supervisor. You get it from just a friend. For me, my sister Mercedes, she's my younger sister, but she was a mom before I was. She is a 3-year-old. I've learned so much about parenting from watching her. We over here with the sight word cards. My baby got words because, my nephew, he had his sight word cards and he had words. So even though she's younger than me, watching the person who is parented before me, I call her like, what's the best pediatrician in town? What you do when she start breaking out? What lotion did you use? So having just those other people, especially, and she's the first one to tell me, we got the same mama. She'd be like, girl, I had to set boundaries with mama. You're going to have to do it too. Having someone else say, yes, she's our mom and she can be overbearing. She means the best, but this is what I had to do. You have to feel okay saying that to her. Coming from my little sister, that meant a lot to me. And it helped me to realize, A, I wasn't crazy. You know what I'm saying? B, it gets tough with our parents. We are raised, especially in Black communities, that you don't, going against the elders, it feels real disrespectful, disagreeing with your mama, disagreeing with your auntie, and learning that disagreement doesn't mean disrespect, and learning the ways to slowly but surely build those boundaries and create those lines with our parents, I think is a real difficult part of Black womanhood and Black motherhood. We're all probably going through as we're adults now. And as single mothers, I'll throw this in. Sometimes I feel like I'm co-parenting with my mom. Mm-hmm. If you're in close proximity with your parents, oftentimes, grandma might be the person who picks up the child the most. My child's father, my daughter's father, lives 2 hours away. It's much easier for me to take her to my mom than it is to her dad. So I feel like I'm co-parenting with my mom a lot. And so learning how to build that co-parenting relationship, it's a learning process, but we're getting there. So sometimes we're co-mothering, my daughter, and we have to figure out, which mom's word matters most, and that's me, and me figuring out a way to say that and a way to implement that and make sure that boundary is drawn. So y'all pray for me as I continue, co-parenting with my mama, because it's been tough.
That's good. We definitely praying for you, girl. You know it. So I do want to acknowledge all of the women that we mentioned. So Tosh mentioned Mama Anita Riggs and Mama Truly Riggs and Mama First Lady Charlotta Bennett and Shanique mentioned Mama Green, Mama Berna, and Mama Janet rest well. So we want to shout out all these women, these beautiful, dynamic women. Shout out to the village, because we would not be here without y'all. Seriously. And we appreciate and honor you all. So Winnie, you raised a lot of things, a lot of points. And I wanted to just kind of sum up this portion and just by saying, like, there's duality in motherhood and Black womanhood, and understanding, like, I think we all kind of find ourselves, whether you're a parent or not, but just trying to figure out how to honor who has gone before you, honor your village, as well as set boundaries. And so, like, it is a kind of, I'll take what's for me and leave the rest. And the village got to respect what I took that's for me and what I left. And that's okay, because we gonna get through this. And trust your parenting and trust your motherhood abilities. So that's good. I love the other mothering. Listen, I got a whole lot of other mothers, a whole lot of them. And then just creating space. I love that idea of just creating space for us to truly, authentically be ourselves, and creating space for us to make mistakes or to learn from everything and go through this journey as a learning process. So that's good. I have a lot of questions left. However, I do want to be cognizant of the time. So we're going to move through these questions with grace, at the same time, being cognizant of the time. So, because I feel like all these questions are good and this conversation is really good. And it is going to help somebody. And I hope it's helping you all. So what does freedom mean to you?
I'll say freedom to me is refusing to be dictated by your own inadequacies that you have of yourself, refusing to be dictated by opinions of others, refusing to be dictated by the hand that you've been dealt, just refusing to be bound and not being able to reach past what you think you can't accomplish or manifest in your life. One person that I used to talk to would always say, ain't nothing to it but to do it, So your only freedom is only what you're limiting yourself to. So yeah, a lot of times I will let my past dictate my freedom, dictate my present, dictate everything. But I refuse to do that, and I refuse to continue to tell lies to myself. Just refusing all the external things, even internal things. I'm refusing to let myself, others, my circumstance, what it looked like, hold me back. Especially when we serve a God. There's no reason to be in bondage whatsoever. He didn't come for us to be bound by anything. So yeah, if God has purposed it for me, then it's only about, it ain't nothing to it but to do it. He gonna do the rest. So refusing to be bound, it's just like a mindset.
Yes.
I like how you
go ahead.
I like how you mentioned being honest with yourself, because I was gonna say freedom is self-honesty. Like, if I can be honest with myself, then I grant myself freedom and the space to be comfortable in whatever decision I make. But that can only come from being honest with myself. I think a lot of times, even to piggyback on when we were talking about being able to reject, when women are rejecting and accepting, I think that's a platform. That's like the boundary there. You have to be able to start by being honest with yourself before you can even get to the point to release, reject, accept. So freedom, anytime I make a decision based off me being honest with myself, I'm okay with it, because I have already been honest with myself. I already came down on myself about it. I've already laid out the pros and the cons of this for myself. So I am comfortable and free to make that decision. So that was good. That helped me get right to what I wanted to say, because I was going to piggyback earlier, but I'm like, I'm going to let the conversation flow. But that thing came right on back around. So definitely freedom is honesty. Like, being able to be honest with yourself. Gosh, it grants so much freedom.
That's good. I want to touch on that, like dig a little bit with that, but I'm going to go ahead and let Shanika and Whitney speak to.
For me, I like what both Tasha and what Somone said. I feel like there are facets of that of freedom for me, but I also think it is the season that I'm in, just recognizing faults, like Somone said, in myself, but then also giving myself the time to navigate those things and not have a time limit on it. Uh, as far as just in general things, you know, from childhood, parenting, being a Black woman, all of those things. So freedom has been me just really taking the time to do the work on myself and not feel rushed about it, and just know that I'm important enough for that work to be done. I think a lot of times as women, we are the last people on our list to take care of, and everyone else is first. And so I'm learning that there is power in putting myself first sometimes. Like, is Elijah absolutely important? Yes. But is he always going to be first in every single thing that I'm doing? Sometimes it has to be me. And then knowing that that's not selfish, that's actually benefiting him, because now I'm becoming, I'm a whole person, but I believe that there are areas that are fractured or broken that need to be nurtured. And once I nurture those places and those places can be healed, then I'm that much of a better person overall and a better mother. So it's just taking that time, and self-care for me has been freedom.
Kudos to you.
Thank you. Trying to be like you. Trying to be like you.
It's a journey. It's a journey.
Yeah.
I think I'll just touch on one thing that jumped out at me from what Tasha said is it's a mindset. It's definitely a mindset, and that's been my challenge right now. There are so many things that we cannot control, and just the refusal to be diminished by them, the refusal to be controlled or bound by them, I think is where you kind of get that freedom. There can be a billion things going on around you, but being able to center yourself and continue your course the best you can day by day without, like I said, feeling diminished or held back by those things, I think is what freedom would be for me right now. But like I said, I'm in a place where I don't necessarily feel very free in a lot of areas of my life. So I'm working on what do I need to do. And one thing that me and my therapist be arguing about is me embracing my journey. And I think I told her, you know, if my journey were a person walking down the street, they're not somebody I would want to go hug. And you know what I mean? And she's like, well, how can we get there? How can we can talk about accepting it, that this is the case, but how can we talk about embracing it? And I think that's a part of freedom, when you're able to say, no matter what's going on, I can be okay, and not even just okay, I can find some good or a gem or, or something here. And so that's what I'm working towards, just getting in the mindset and the mind frame of, this may not be the prettiest thing, or it might not be, what I'm saying, what I thought it was going to be, or what I planned for it to be, or what I would have chosen. But there's something for me there, and there's some beauty there, and that's something I can hug. And you know what I mean? And so, and again, there's so many different, like Shanika said, so many different facets of freedom. But right now, I'm just focusing on the mindset of believing I'm free, of being able to say it and it be honest, and it be honest. A lot of us will talk a good game. I'm doing well, I'm doing good, and you not. You know what I'm saying? So I got the transparency there, I got the honesty there, but I'm getting to the embracing. And I think when you're able to embrace, have that mindset where you're able to embrace what's going on, that gives a lot of people a sense of freedom.
Yes, y'all. Come on and define this freedom. Yes, I think you all touch on some really good things. So just the refusal to be diminished by other people's labels, other people's standards, other people's definitions of what it means for you. And then centering yourself. I love that. Being able to be honest, one, and embracing who you are. So after you are honest, after you are like, okay, girl, this is what it is. Now love on her a little bit, even though this is what it is. This you, baby girl. So you gotta love all of you. Loving all parts of self is a thing, and we gotta do better at it. So I love that. So then, with that, what are you all's great joys as Black women and Black mothers?
I think
Yes.
Blackness is so beautiful. And I'm one of like I am into pretty things, and I just like even just looking at the screen, like being a Black woman, we just get to be so beautiful. Like the skin is just everything. So I just have to throw that out there. Like I love being a part of a people that's just popping like this. Like it is amazing. It is the best feeling in the world. Motherhood for me, one of the things that gives me joy about it is the opportunity to do something that's bigger than myself, and something that there's a ripple effect when you are raising a child that God gave to you to raise. Again, like you said, like Tasha said, you protecting that purpose and you're protecting that destiny. This is something that was a part of the Creator's grand design that He decided you specifically get to be a part of. I have to have like joy in that. Like, you picked me out of all people, you know what I mean, to do this part in something that's going to have ripple effects that I will never even know, the reach of. And I just find ways to not get so caught up in motherhood, but I found ways to be myself in it. Like I found ways to, and I still have a little one, so it's a little easier. One thing I do is I wear matching outfits with my daughter all the time. Like literally it is a whole creative outlet. Like I'm a shopper. Like I'm a shopper. Like it gives me a way to still be me. I like fashion. I like the things. I'm gonna tell y'all something little that made me feel like mom of the year. My daughter, this might have been like, she might have been 16 months old. She picked up my beauty blender and started dabbing her face with it. And I rarely do my makeup in front of her because she won't let me. It'd be too much. Like I normally, find something for her to do or give her. But the fact that I know she's watching me and she's soaking up little things, and she knows, she's learning how to apply her makeup. I'm like, you know what? If I don't do nothing else, it's gonna be blended, okay? Cheekbones gonna be highlighted. But just to know that there's a little person that is soaking up, these little things, and to know that she's thriving under my care and under my nurturing. She's learning, she's mimicking, she's doing these things, and it's because she's watching me. It goes to what Tasha said in the beginning. It helps you to be a better person. Sometimes it's that check I need. I literally have when I'm feeling away and I'm getting worked up and I'm like, I'm not about to respond well, I literally can have this whole like vision in my head of her using this beauty blender. She is going to pick this up. How I act right now, how I respond to this very moment, she will very well mimic this. And that helps me to like check myself. Like I think I deal with other people better. I deal with a lot of folks better. I watch my words. I watch my tone because somebody is watching me and I need to be, you know what I mean, what I want you to be. Our mothers wanted us to be better than them, and we want our children to be better than us. I be looking around this world like this is a whole ghetto and it's raggedy. And I have a part in it being better because I'm going to raise a little person that's going to know how to create the boundaries that I didn't know how to create when I was a teenager. That's going to know how to, when it's good to leave, when I didn't know that it was okay for me to leave. That's going to know how to stick up for themselves. It's going to know when to be kind and how to be kind. It's going to know, so many things that I maybe didn't have or didn't get. I'm going to be able to give them to this person, and the world is going to be 10 times better 20 years from now because God picked me to be a part of this and, chose all of us. So that gives me joy.
Yeah.
That gives me a lot of joy knowing that it ain't going to be ghetto like this forever because it's a whole bunch of us out here helping, gathering this thing up because this thing is raggedy. But through our parenting, through our motherhood, and our womanhood, we are gathering this right on up. Black women save me every day.
Yes. Come on, the seeds that we're sowing, the better version of ourselves are going to be out here in this world creating and making waves.
First of all, we gonna let Whitney have this session, okay? We're gonna let her have this one right here.
All right. Next person.
Kudos to Whitney.
Okay.
All that, everything in there.
I love it. Yes, kudos to, because she just steady dropping gems. I mean, you all have listen. I have pages of notes today from the mother.
Send me them.
And I'm recording, so I will be sending this to you all too. So
wait,
I'm about to be quoting y'all in Facebook statuses talking about some dash, Tosha, dash, Shanika.
That's what I just said. Motherhood, womanhood, Facebook statuses for days.
So if you all don't have anything else to add, or unless Tosha, you look like you was ready to add something. If not, go ahead.
I agree with what Whitney said. We are just so beautiful and powerful and strong, and I just love that about us. We can handle so much, and we carry so much that, you know, this ain't easy, and we make it look easy, but it's not. And I just think that speaks to the strength that's in us. It speaks to the God that's in us. I love that I'm at a point now where I feel like, you know, I'm flourishing naturally and spiritually, and then to bring my daughter up in that, it's just so beautiful. Not only to win in my own life, you know, to not have settled and not went after my dreams, to fulfill the dreams that I had as a child and to be walking in it, you know, it's so great. But then to also be raising a daughter that I hope will be even better than that, you know? So, I mean, we're so mighty and fierce. I can't even, there's no one word to describe us. So we just do it. We do it all.
Yes, we do.
Better than Nike.
Come on. Shanique, you was getting ready to say something? Okay, so my last question for you ladies, sadly, because this was a good conversation, so rich, is what piece of advice, what gem would you drop on your child or the next young woman, I should say, that is coming behind you after reflecting on your own journey?
I'll say you got this. Like, believe in yourself. I think a lot of times certain decisions we make or times when we beat ourselves down, it's also because we don't believe in ourselves. So I feel like once you have that confidence and build yourself up and you believe in you, like, you unstoppable, sis. Can't nobody tell you nothing.
Unstoppable, sis.
Look, it's the confidence for me.
Yes.
And that just carries you a long way, I think. In motherhood and womanhood, a lot of times it's not someone else diminishing us. We walk in a room and diminish ourselves because we haven't built ourselves up, or we don't feel like we got it. So I just feel like once we do that for ourselves, love on ourselves, and have that confidence, like, everything else just gonna work out. You're gonna start entering places and just doing it better than Nike. Okay, you got it, sis.
Yes.
Yeah.
Doing it better than Nike.
Nike, just do it. You're gonna do it better. So you got this.
I love it.
If I was going to give somebody advice, it would be advice that I recently came into, and that is, I wrote a post about it, and it was just about not belonging at tables. And so I would encourage the next people to not question why you are at a table. You can do anything. My mentor said this, you can do anything or any job. You just will do it differently, but that does not mean that it's better or that it's worse. So don't be afraid to grab a seat or take a seat at the table. And if there's not a table for you, don't be afraid to build your own. So I would say that just, if there's not a table for you, build your own and know that you belong in whatever environment that you are in. You are capable of it. You just have to figure out
your unique way of executing whatever that is.
That's good.
That was real good.
I would say to save yourself for marriage. There's so many consequences to not waiting. So many consequences. But yeah, save yourself for marriage. And if a man doesn't respect that or value that, then I would say he's not a man to be respected. But you have to respect yourself and to not let yourself feel bad about the decisions you make and not change or lower your standards for a man. But yeah, save yourself for the man who is going to treat you like Christ treats us, you know? Really wait, it's worth the wait, it's hard, but I would definitely say that to any young woman, save yourself for marriage, not just for yourself, but to please God as well. Don't accept anything that you're not gonna accept for the rest of your life. If you don't wanna accept it today, don't accept potential. If it ain't giving you what you need today, don't wait for it to give it to you tomorrow. Don't accept today what you are not willing to accept for the rest of your life. Be your own woman, live, love yourself, travel, do the things you love, strive for your goals, be at peace, accept only peace in your life, and pray.
Love
That's
it,
the period,
sir.
sis, at the end of that.
You gave a whole lot of quick gems. Like, look, don't forget this too.
Right.
True.
I would say you deserve it. Whatever the it is, you deserve it. That don't mean you ain't gonna have to work hard for it. That doesn't mean it's going to come easy, but you do deserve it. Whether it's that job, whether it's that relationship, whether it's just that peace, it does not matter what you've done in the past. It does not matter what others have done. You deserve the it, whatever the it is. I think we disqualify ourselves a lot. We walk in the room and decide we're not supposed to be here. You deserve it. I love that little post that was, it said, it was like just a friendly reminder to apply for that job you don't think you qualify for, because half the white men that work there ain't qualified either. Like, that's how you deserve it. You deserve it. You are worthy. And to always be your own best friend. When you get ready to say something to yourself, don't say it to you if you wouldn't say it to your best friend. When you have had a failure and you're dealing with that failure, I'm talking to me right now. Walk yourself through that failure the way you would walk through your best friend through that failure. When you looking at this job description, gas yourself up like your best friend would and tell you how overqualified you probably are. One of my best friends, I be looking at her like, sis, you like borderline lying at this point. Like, I remember I worked at Victoria's Secret and I was just calling her. I was like, yeah, the CEO has stepped down. And she's like, oh, you gonna apply? I'm like, nah.
Yes.
I was like, no, you really are trying to write it. She's like, you don't work there 6 years. You know everything. They need the people at the bottom. I was like, you're really trying it. But that's what best friends do. They will gas you all the way up.
Let's
so
go, best friend. That's my best friend.
She should be the CEO. She only been a sales associate, but so what? 6 years of experience. That's you, sis. But give yourself that. Give yourself that love, that confidence, that big up. Forgive yourself like you forgive your best friend. Pick up that phone and call whoever you need to call at the middle of the night. The way you would pick up the phone for your best friend, be there for yourself in that way. And so that is what I would tell somebody, a young woman that's trying to, just be on her own journey.
Well, what can I say? I love all the gems that were dropped today, and I have definitely put them in my little stash when needed. So thank you, ladies. Thank you so much. This conversation was truly priceless. If I could pay y'all, I would pay y'all. But I can't, because it was priceless. So we can't put a price on these gems that were dropped. So thank you for participating. Truly, like I said before, I honor each one of you all as mothers, as Black women. Y'all are out here doing it being resilient, being powerful, being strong, even in the rough times, even in the uncertain times. So I honor you, and I wanted to remind us that this conversation, we want to keep the conversation going. So challenging you all to keep the conversation going with your circle of influence, and we hope that this conversation just empowered, uplifted, inspired somebody and each other. And then we want to remember to control our own narratives about ourselves. So thanks for joining us, and we will talk soon.